The story is as follows. He brings it the context of Avram making the bris that with Avimelech that it should be last week's parsha for my children, grandchildren. He says one of the I don't know what this is, but one of the shluchim before he went on shlichus to a certain city, it was in Yechidus, and he asked in that city there are at that time many Jewish organizations, including the Reform organization. Very powerful, as they often are, the wealthiest synagogue, what have you, most Jews members. He was very afraid that going there and another organization, especially Chabad, is going to create tremendous difficulties and conflict. Now, I should just point out here that when I was in Shlichus and Shomeri, when Shomeri became basically, just not untenable, people moving away, and there's a question of where I should go. So there are a number of propositions. One of them was to go to Dollard, and the Rebbe said no. At that time, Rabbi Zeitz was there, and pretty much the rabbi of the founder and built Yiddishkeit there. And the Rebbe said, obviously, do not go there. You're encroaching on his territory. Asagas Gvul, which is halach in Torah, not allowed to encroach on somebody else's territory. Things changed now. They retired, etc. There were discussions, whatever it is. But that's why we didn't go. But that's an Orthodox rabbi. Here's a different answer here. The Rebbe's answer was that after the Tzemach Tzedek, 1843, we've talked about this, the Russian government summoned the Jewish leaders for it was a weeks on end meeting. And it was all instigated by the Reform leaders, the Maskilim, the leaders of the Enlightenment. This is meticulously recorded by the Frierdiker Rebbe. This particular, it's amazing. I just finished reading it. The detail of documented the detail of the exchanges during these meetings, and so I just have to tell you it's horrible to read, but that's the fact. They wanted the Maskilim. It started in Germany, is where it all started, and it spread to Russia. Moses Mendelssohn is one of its founders. They wanted literally the Talmud to be banned. One of them, if you look up at Google, Reform Movement, you get the quotations of the early founders, the Talmud has to go. And they were telling the Russian government that, for the betterment of Jewry, I have to say that the intentions were probably good. Not probably, definitely. They've got to be lifted from the quagmire of superstition of the Middle Ages and fantasy and nonsense and brought into the modern world of reason and science. And they are a detriment to the growth of civilization, the Talmud, and observance, etc. It was a war on Yiddishkeit, defamation, and the number one enemy was the Tzemach Tzedek at that time, who yielded tremendous influence on so many Jews, and so therefore he has to be monitored. And so they wanted to. The agenda was to control the educational system, to change the Siddur, to modify the curriculum, eventually to remove the Talmud completely from the curriculum, but at least then to remove those things that the Reform movement found offensive, and from the Siddur. And all rabbis to be appointed by the government, and every child has to go to government-controlled schools. It spelled the end of Yiddishkeit, assimilation. Anyway, the Tzemach Tzedek fought this, and an incredible story, and it failed. So the Rebbe says like this: after the Tzemach Tzedek's great battle against the head of the Maskilim, the so-called Enlightenment, so Dr. Leontal, you read about him, he was disgraced. He led this whole war against orthodoxy, against Yiddishkeit, and he was disgraced. Apparently, there was some financial scandal. Also, he had lost, so he left Russia and came to America. You can look him up on Google. And he settled in your city. I could find it actually where the Shliach didn't realize. And he began, he's one of the founders of the Reform movement in America. The Rebbe concluded. So there's going to travel an Einikol of the Tzemach Tzedek. I don't know if it's a literal Einikol or a figurative Einikol. I don't know, but I could actually find out. And you're going to go to this city and you're going to complete the victory that your Zayda, that Tzemach Tzedek began. Of course, the way Chabad affects the victory, brings back the victory today, is with light and with love and education. But complete the victory that Tzemach Tzedek began in Russia, and that Leontel continued and brought to these shores. So don't be afraid. You'll go there, and you'll go with light. You'll be successful, and the rest pretty much is history. The Reform movement has undergone revolutionary changes from within the last couple of years, aside from everything else. Okay, friends, have a wonderful day.